Hello everybody, long time no see. Why is everything behind me a little bit blurry? Could it be that I made a mod that adds depth of field? That's right, let's look into it. So this new mod is called CamFilters, and it works on spectator cameras like this one, and the one you set right here. So if you set HD spectator or spawned object, this will activate. How do you activate it? You gotta go to custom buttons, spawn the mod panel, this is what comes up, click plugins and find my mod, here it is, CamFilters patch. We click on it and now we see a bunch of options. The first option is invisible camera. If you click this, all these object parts become invisible. So if like the camera is moving, sometimes if you were lagging, it would show the camera itself. Now these are disabled, so that won't happen anymore. Now let's jump into depth of field. You have to enable it here. As soon as I do that, you can see everything in the background is blurry. Well, that's because of these settings that I have set up here. First up is focal distance, which is like how far away the object you want to focus on is. Then there's focal length, aperture, and max blur size. Max blur size, you can double click here. That'll change how blurry things are in general. So like if you really lower it, the background won't be that blurry at all. These two are more complicated and have to do more with photography. I put some descriptions here. So generally, the larger the value is, the shallower the depth of field. And for aperture, this is the actual f-stop number. So this is like f/2.8. The smaller the value, the shallower the depth of field. Most people just tune with these, but I'll show you two ways in which you can sort of try to analyze it a little bit more. I'll cut to that now. You can use a calculator like PhotoPills' depth of field calculator. You can input the focal length, aperture, and distance. And right here, I'll draw a little graph describing like what will be in focus. Here you can see the depth of field is about like 1/4 meter, and it gives you more data if you're an actual photographer, unlike me. You can also try giving ChatGPT a prompt like, give me some sample focal distance, focal length, and aperture if I want everything in front of me up to 5 meters in focus and everything beyond that out of focus. If it doesn't mess up as it usually does, it should give you some sample values like a focal length of 50, aperture of 2.8, and focal distance of 2 meters. Let's try this out. You can see I inputted values of 2, 50, and 2.8. And standing right here, you see the gun is in focus, that ruler and that is in focus, but back there you can see the target is real blurry, okay? And we're back. If all of that was way too complicated, I also added like an autofocus fixture. This one's called held object focus. If you set it here, you hold an object, now only the object will be in focus. And if you put it down, it'll still be in focus until you grab a different item. And now that one will be the center of the focus, and how like the distance between you and it will be calculated. So that one essentially just sets the distance value here. If you turn it off, you should go back to the normal settings. Before I get to an example of how to set up a shot, let me show you some hidden features. Below here is grayscale. You can see now the screen is black and white. This is just an easy way to check if this is working. And then there's wait for other loader. If your other loader takes like a long time to load because you don't have an SSD or something, you want to set this to the amount of seconds it takes other loader to finish. So okay, so I've set up a scene with this mod, objects behind it, objects in front of it, and objects right on its own plane. I'm going to grab the camera. I'm going to disable it. I'm going to turn held object focus on, and I'm going to grab the object. I'm going to really lower the depth of field here. That way only the AK is visible. I'm going to set up some points here. I'll grab the invisible camera, animate it, switch to spawned, and I'm going to hold the object one more time. And this is the final result. If you want to know more about photography and the variables that I talked about, I'll link a video in the video card. And if you want to see more of my mods, click the video on the screen.